Michelle.
Hi, everyone.
What are we up to, Michelle?
Oh, I don't know. I'm in my pajamas.
Nice. That's the way to go. Did you work today?
I did. I just got home like an hour ago and I ate and that's it.
Is that a baby grand in back of you?
It is.
Yeah.
I'm learning to play.
Good.
Oh, no, good.
Music. It soothes the savage beast.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. We're just waiting for a few more people to come in, but I hit record because I wanted to thank you guys, all of you that are putting pictures up. Diane mentioned it. She saw some really nice pictures. And
Yeah.
it makes a difference. Who posted a picture this time? Were you guys?
I think I did one.
Well,
I did one of fruit.
yes, I saw the fruit. When you do that, you're focusing in on what you're doing and how you're taking care of yourself and feeding yourself. And you want to make it look good. You want to make it look, presentable or prettier or just, like a magazine. But the bottom line is it's the focus on what you're doing that's so important. No matter what, then when you sit down and you eat it, it's just been an experience for just yourself. You're not just cutting up fruit and you're just putting it on that. It's a whole different experience because you're participating in doing something that is good for you, and it's the routine you're establishing. So that's very important. Sharon, did you take a picture of your food this last week?
No.
Okay. Let me think. No.
It's not.
It makes a difference. It really, but
Really
Diane
does.
said, and before I put the record, Diane said I have to pay attention to getting more fruit into the house.
Yeah.
Who's got that issue?
I had to get apples earlier this week. I was out. So, but I had cherries. I ate cherries the one day I was out. We didn't have an apple to eat.
Did you get organic cherries or were they frozen organic?
They were frozen cherries. I think, I'm not sure.
Yeah, they have to be organic because they're thin skinned. When you have fruit and you can't get the real good organic, if they have real thick skin, then you're okay because the pesticides won't permeate. But if you have thin skins like grapes, cherries, things like that, tomatoes, they all have to be organic. Otherwise, you're taking some serious
So there's a string out of it, piece of yarn.
pesticides.
Onto a
Okay.
That's what I want, the whole blanket. In that.
I didn't say that. You said it.
I didn't know how it was.
Are you two arguing? What,
Oh, he's looking for something for me and I didn't give him the whole directions because
how is he doing the dishes too? Is he gonna do the dishes?
No, I don't think so.
You want everything.
Yes, oh,
Okay, look, I still want to see pictures of what you guys are feeding yourselves.
Fell off.
And to Diane, it was inspirational, it was good. To me, it was letting me know that you guys are paying attention to yourselves. And there's a few things in a book I picked up.
oh.
Have you guys seen this book before?
Gee, let me think.
I was thinking about changing the title. And that would be a big hassle for me right now. But I really want to change the title. And it came to me today. And hey, Barb, did you get in? There you are. It's either God's diet or the diet God gave me. I'm not sure. Flush your fat for good. It's great, it's catchy, whatever. But this is really the diet that was given to me. And I immediately, as soon as it was downloaded into my brain, I immediately started doing the exact pattern habitual ritual, the exact thing that's in the book and also in the workbook. Okay, nobody makes this stuff up. It just all came to me. The one thing I want you guys to know is that this is, hi Barbara.
Hey, Jackie.
The thing is, when some people say, oh, you know, I eat paleo or I do keto or I do that or I do this, but the one thing that we are all practicing that some people really take for granted or they don't think it's that important is food combining. It's food combining is a serious thing. And I didn't make it up. I didn't learn about it, you know, a couple years ago. I did learn about it when I was 28 years old in Vegas and I was sick as a dog working on the stages. And after when I finally got out of, I had a virus, Epstein-Barr virus, chronic fatigue, I had it all. They didn't know what to do for me. They just wanted to keep giving me antibiotics and steroids. And I'm like, I'm done. So I went to the health food store and I started looking for ways to save myself because I lost a lot of faith in what they were trying to accomplish with me. So I did find a book and it was the weirdest title. And I wrote it in our book. It's chapter, which pillar number 2, food combining, page 15. Okay. And I just want to remind you guys, I was going through this, couple more things I want to share with you. But Dr. William Howard Hay, Hay, 1866 to 1940. And Dr. Herbert Shelton, he's the one I learned from, 1888 to 1987. They promoted food combining. And Dr. Shelton introduced food combining in his book published in 1951, Food Combining Made Easy. It's not made easy. It's so, I got the book and I started reading it. I'm like, really? It's easy? And but despite the fact that it's not easy, I still read it. And it was so important what they found because they literally found foods that are not compatible with each other. And they did that. It was so important that Dr. Hayes, they would call it sometimes the Hay diet, Hay, or they would say known as haying, Haying. But the general idea of food combining goes back to at least 1850, when natural hygienists discovered that eating incompatible foods in the same meal could affect the digestion and absorption of valuable nutrients. So it's not a gimmick, it's not a little trick, it's not something like, well, I could do it this day, I could do it that day. It really depends on how you feel about yourself, your health, your well-being, and your longevity. So, you know, there's going to be accidents from time to time. You're going to be in a place that it's not going to work or whatever. But your lifestyle, this is lifestyle for a lifetime. This is not a diet. This is a lifestyle. And the more and more I can pound it into you guys that this is the way you live. If your lifestyle is that you believe in God and you want to do the right thing and help others, that's a lifestyle. If your lifestyle is trying to keep your home clean and raise your kids right, do the right thing, that's a lifestyle. Like I said last week, you're not living a lifestyle of, you know, living in your car or robbing the 7-Eleven. You know, that's a lifestyle too. I lived in LA. I know all about that lifestyle. So food combining is something we really have to pay attention to. I'm going to get to another page in here later, but for right now, I'm going to put this right here. Food combining is something that when you start to feel hungry because your foods were digesting quickly, you didn't eat enough. You have to eat. Last week we were talking to, can't remember her name, but she was new for us. And it was really good because she said, sometimes I have to snack. Michelle, you tried to help her. Margie, you were great. You stepped in and said, you're a teacher, all this stuff. The bottom line is, if you're just eating a little here and a little there, your food, it's not going to sustain you. Food is important for your energy. Nutritional ketosis is when you finally switch your brain over, your body looking for your own fat to burn. And that is so efficient that you burn a lot faster and you're going to be hungrier. So we don't overeat, we don't undereat, but man, we eat. And when you're like, say, for example, you had a bowl of Jackie's chicken salad, maybe 2 hours later, you're hungry. There's nothing wrong with going for another bowl of salad. There's nothing wrong for going for your goat yogurt nuts. Or you do a whole big plate of grilled veggies or raw veggies, put them in the lemon mayo dip and wait for that next 2 hours. But sometimes I wind up doing a third serving of fruit at night. And oddly enough, certain fruit at night can act like melatonin and it can help you to sleep. So the one thing I want you guys to understand is this year, you're going to be learning things this year. Things are going to be exposed. Things are going to take place that I already know about, and maybe you guys have learned certain things. You watch like Senator Ron Johnson and the certain things with the 17,000 doctors. We're going to see some things. And it's more and more important for us to take serious accountability for our life and our health. If you know, I've asked this question before, but I'm going to ask you, Sharon, what's the day, how old do you want to be when you take your last breath?
I don't know. A long time ago, way down the road.
Nope, not good enough. How old do you want to be when you take?
105.
Okay, that's good. Michelle?
112.
Okay. Gail, you just popped in. Hi, honey, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you.
How old do you want to be when you take your last breath, babe?
Oh, wow. Like maybe 95.
Maybe.
I haven't thought about it.
That's why I'm asking you.
Yeah.
Because what goes in your mouth is going to determine the health and longevity. And you'll think twice about certain things, not feeding yourself or feeding yourself.
Right.
95,
right.
how old are you now?
I'm 64.
Okay, so you're giving yourself 30 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 30. I mean, that's kind of like my family longevity, the mid 90s. So that's what I'm going off of.
Okay. Did you ever think of bypassing that and going to 100?
I mean, hey, that's all good. I just want my quality of life to be good. And yeah, I agree with you. Food means everything.
And I like what you just said. You don't want to grow old and suffer. You want to grow old and prosper and enjoy. So your quality of life is everything.
Yeah.
Bob Hope died at what, 105?
Well, look at Betty
About
Ross.
Also 95, you're going along with everybody else. You have the right to say, no, I'm going to hit the triple digits. I'm going to outlive them all. So it's about really being in charge of your choices determine your destiny. Barbara, what are you looking at? What's the year?
I mean, at least 100.
Okay, at least 100. Let's talk. How old do you want to be when you take your last breath?
106.
Okay, That will satisfy you.
Yes.
Hit 106 and your kids are doing good, you got a couple of grandkids, whatever, and you're 106 and you know you have gotten your health under control, you have gotten your weight to where you feel comfortable in maneuvering your body and wearing the clothes you want, and you're enjoying life, you're getting older and older and older, and when you hit 106, I'm ready.
Mhm.
Okay, this is important to think about. Idris, how we doing on the chocolate?
Not doing too good, had a lot of stress. But I want to be 120.
Oh, wow.
Really? Well, aren't you in your 90s right now?
No,
No,
not
I'm
yet.
81.
Oh, 81. My bad. Okay. So,
Luann is the one that's 90.
no, isn't Luann 90?
Yep.
God love her, man. Okay, so we gotta, along with the stress, are you eating fruits and vegetables, lean, clean?
Yeah. I'm eating the good stuff.
Okay, are you food combining?
Yep.
Okay. Are you drinking your cran flush?
I am, but not enough.
Okay, we're pinpointing your deficits. So that means you got to kick it up a notch, right?
Right.
Okay, because you got to flush out that chocolate.
Yeah.
Okay, I know stress kills. So you have to be very, very careful. This chocolate, if it didn't have sugar in it, would give you theobromide, which is a mood elevator, but it's still a starch. So you want to stay away from the starch with the protein. And again, it would be great if you can find some cacao. Very important. Margie, what's your age?
111.
There you go. Bada bang. Okay, that's me. I'm 111. And Diane?
Well,
Yeah, what's Bill?
111.
We'll go with Margie because he can't make it without her.
that's right.
I know.
That's true.
It's true. I know. There was a story of a couple the other day. And I think it was a son was talking about it. And he was saying that his father passed and they were holding hands, father and mother, and she died a minute and a half later.
Oh,
And they were holding hands in the twin bed. You know, it was really adorable. And that to me, man, that's quite a showstopper. So Diane, you're on mute, babe.
95.
95. Do you have longevity, or you have someone in your family that died at 95, or are you gonna?
No, I will have outlived my mother and that age
So-
of 90.
Okay, so you don't want to hit the triple digit.
I think because of the health issues and stuff, I want to be as healthy as I can be as long as I can be. I don't want a nursing home with Alzheimer's and
Oh,
all
no.
of this kind of stuff.
Right. So if you want 100, if you want to live to the triple digits, then you know what you have to do to improve your health. We could want that, then we get hit by a truck. So, but the bottom line is it's what you put your sights on. Your thoughts create your own reality, how you feel, how you think. So we have to really pay attention to what we're doing to ourselves. Barbara, I'm just gonna kick your butt for the next year, babe.
I know. We talked.
Yeah.
And I sent you a picture in Messenger because of something that somebody you just brought up. So you can see it later.
Okay. I'll do that. The thing is, with all of you, you care enough about what's going on in your life, you care enough about how you feel about yourselves, and you care enough about how you feel physically to be on this Tuesday Zoom call. The one thing I want to bring up, I was reading in this book I just picked up, that some of you guys should have this, that food combining started way in the 1850s. So it's not something I made up, or it's not like a little gimmick that showed up like 10, 15, 20 years ago. But the one thing, sometimes I flip through this book just to remind me, I mean, when I wound up writing this, and of course we had the contribution of Dr. Vicky and Kathleen Powell. She gave a great contribution regarding her personal life, which we felt was really important because, you know, a lot of people, they don't know how people feel when they're overweight. They don't really care unless they are overweight. And the thing is, a lot of things go on in people's lives that every morning when they look in the mirror and they see themselves, or they have to put their clothes on, that's a moment in time when they're miserable, or they're disappointed, or they're bummed out, or they're sad, or they're facing the fact that, like I did, I was like, dear Lord, I want this fat gone like yesterday. But I knew how things go. You know, you go on a diet, you're hungry on the weekend, you know, oh, come on, let's go to the movie, get some popcorn, just do the popcorn, don't eat, you know, all this stuff. And what happens is you can't stay steady when you call it a diet. The first 3 letters of the word in diet are die. It's miserable, it's stupid, it doesn't work. It's not based on biochemistry, physiology. But in chapter 8, every once in a while I pick this up because I want to bring it to my attention, because I do deal with people that sometimes 500-600 pounds. And you always have to keep it in mind. Some people, they have 25, 30, 40, 50, 60 pounds overweight. To somebody that's 500 pounds, that means nothing to them. But to somebody that has 40, 50, 60 pounds overweight, it's devastating. It's disappointing. It's frightening. And it's like, okay, what do I do? Do I do the smoothie thing? Do I do the keto thing, the paleo thing? Do I do the starve myself? I'm just not going to eat. When I feel hunger pains, I'll just let it go. I'll just water. I mean, I did the pineapple diet. I did the watermelon diet. I've done them all. The pineapple diet is great.
Beverly Hills, Beverly Hills diet.
Yes, and then your tongue bleeds, right? It's like, what's wrong with me? And, well, you just ate 3 pineapples in a row. So that's how I learned about bromelain. It's an acid. It eats your tongue.
Mhm.
So in chapter 8, it's called Redefining Your Self-Image. When I was working with some anorexics, and my twin sister worked with an anorexic that was just horrible. We had to really, literally save her life. But you remember Karen Carpenter, what an incredible singer.
What a sad story.
When I hear her music at Christmas, I'm just, to this day, I feel so emotional about it. I feel so bad, that poor girl. It was about her image and what she saw. Anorexics can look at themselves and continue to starve themselves because when they see themselves, they're fat. And they feel their self-image is not going to be good unless they get thinner and thinner and thinner. But after a while, she died of a heart attack, because when you starve yourself, your brain has to live, and it starts to eat out your muscles. Well, Your heart's a muscle. So the last thing to go is it's going to eat out your heart. That's why flush your fat is not about under eating or overeating. It's all about eating, because the more food you have in your gut is going to stoke the fire to burn the fat. And nobody knew how to talk with this poor girl. A lot of people, and people that are obese, if you, 20 pounds overweight is linked to over 20 health conditions. And you don't know when they're going to pop up. That's why I say, you guys have to, have your eye on the ball about when you want to take your last breath, because your choices determine your destiny. If in this chapter, I remember, where is it? I was writing, there's called a distorted body awareness. Anybody hear about distorted body awareness? When you see yourself and you see the image of yourself, even if you start losing fat, when you look at yourself, you still see yourself as fat, because there's a picture that's been put into your brain that you can't get out. That's why we tell everybody, when you start this lifestyle, take a picture of yourself every month. Look at it. Don't be afraid to look at yourself naked either, because it's the hard, cold truth. You are in control. Whatever you see and you don't like, pay attention to that. So when you take a picture of yourself in clothes, whatever, and put it on the refrigerator or the bathroom mirror or whatever, take a picture of that, because when you're 3, 4, 5 pounds down, take a picture of that and put it over the other picture. Otherwise, you're going to have DBA, which is distorted body awareness. That's why it's really hard for some, that, Michelle, that didn't exactly happen to you a couple of weeks ago, but
it does.
it does.
In fact, I think it was just this morning that I was walking by the mirror, going from my bedroom to the kitchen to get my clothes to put on. And I saw myself from the side, and I said to myself, okay, don't think negatively about yourself.
Right.
You've lost a lot of weight, so don't worry about what you look like. Because it isn't really what I want to look like yet, but I just had to have a conversation with myself not to be, negative to myself.
See, that's good. That's you in charge. And that's like, that's like the devil, Satan coming in, putting that little thing in your head. Oh, is that all I look like? Oh, do I look that? That's not the way you can't feel good about yourself if you look that way. It's negativity. Negativity breeds negativity. But what you did was you fought it. You put the wall up and said, okay, don't feel bad about this. You have to feel good about this. I'm in charge. I'm putting food in my mouth that's healthy. I mean, so many people that are doing Flush Your Fat, this is the best they've ever eaten. This is the best they've ever, just to food combined is changing people's bowels. Those are the pipes of life. We call distorted body awareness, or DBA, your brain may still perceive that you are bigger than your actual size.
Mm-hmm.
Carrying lots of fat for a long time can create distorted perceptions and can become the dominant brain image rising into the consciousness. This could explicitly affect the way a person views their body. Short-term fat gain and then loss is an acute situation. However, being overfat for a long time changes your self-image, and that DBA becomes a permanent image in your brain.
Mm-hmm.
Your eyes can see the visual image of your own body getting thinner, but is still unable to process that information to override what the brain has calculated for years. So it registers that you are larger than you really are. Thus, taking regular pictures or posting them everywhere in the house, in the car, and in your cell phone is essential. That's what I wrote to make sure. I did it in capital letters. It's essential to do that because you have to reprogram yourself. You have to reprogram what you just did, Michelle. You started the process of reprogramming yourself. So you could fall and you could go down and go bummed, or you could say, hey, don't pay attention to that. But it is true, when you have a certain image of yourself, you have to change that image because, again, your thoughts create your own reality, and you can make your whole self go, go south.
Well, I mean, for as far back as I can remember, I always had a fat image of myself.
Mhm.
And I wasn't even fat compared to what I was just a couple years ago. I mean, I really did reach obesity by getting over 200 pounds. But when I was growing up, like the first time I ever went on a diet, my stepmother put me and my cousin, which kind of challenged us. And it was the summer of 9th grade. And so when I was in 9th grade, I was a little chubby. And so during that summer, she, taught us, just like about, well, this was in the 70s. So we were counting calories and gave us, a couple of exercises to do. And there was no way my cousin was going to beat me. So I was totally, totally committed. And I lost 23 pounds that summer and went into 10th grade. And all of a sudden, all these boys were looking at me. And, like it or not, I mean, it was like, okay, and so from that point on, even when I did, gain 10 pounds, gain 15, I always caught it at 20. Like I never got too far overweight, but I always knew the way I wanted to look because of the way I wanted to feel. And maybe, I mean, it's kind of a good thing, kind of not a good thing, because those are also external feelings. It's like other people looking at you and giving you that, you know what I mean? So that's not really good, but it was also just the way I felt about myself.
Well,
And
it's
so
not bad. And like I said last week or the week before, vanity is not bad. It just depends on the degree.
Right.
You want to feel good about yourself. You want to feel, that you turn heads, or you want to feel somebody say, wow, you look great for your age. Or you want somebody to say, you look so healthy and fresh, or whatever.
Right.
That makes you feel good, but you can't crave it. And you can't be so to the point where you live nothing for that. But if you look good, you look healthy, you look refreshed, and you look great for your age, that means, you look good inside too. Your skin is the largest filtering organ on the body. So whatever happens, it's all going to come out on your skin. If you're healthy, people are going to gravitate to that. And that's the attention we want. We want somebody to say, wow, you look like you take care of yourself. Wow, you look healthy. Wow, you've got good color in your cheeks. Your energy, people can see energy when you're slumping, when you're down, when you're exhausted. That's not attractive, number one. But number two, it's not a sign of looking healthy. So your energies are very important as well. That's why when you food combine, you actually start to get more energy because you're digesting and absorbing so much better. But what happened to you? What happened to you when you got past that 20? You just let it keep going?
Well, You know, I want to say, I don't know how old I was when I started to like, not that I was still conscious of what I was eating and tried to be, you know, like relatively healthy with what I was eating. I've always been that way, mostly because of my weight. But I also got to a point where I was just like, you know, as long as like I stopped obsessing about it. So, you know, like I was okay with being a size 12 instead of a size 8. Just because, you know, I still felt like I looked okay and I was healthy. But it was the, you know, all the things that happened all at once with the grief and the being in a abusive relationship and not realizing it, and, you know, all those things.
The rug was pulled out from under you.
Right. And I was eating my emotions, but like, and then when all that stuff, you know, when I was completely by myself and, you know, like had lost my mother, you know, no longer had my sister in my life, no longer had the boyfriend in my life. Like I was really like, I would go to work and I would come home and nobody else was around. And I was literally, you know, like eating a quart of ice cream a night at least. I mean, on top of food, you know.
Right.
And I would step on the scale and I would look at that scale and it was almost like I was like, wonder how high you can get it. You know, like it was just a really sabotaging emotion that I was going through. And then it wasn't until one day when, you know, I hopped on the call that even then I didn't like totally get my act together, but at least I was starting.
We know.
Yes, I know.
Do I have to do that? Well, I can't do that. Did you do that?
No,
yet?
I'm talking about the first time, like, you know, the phone call.
I know. And you know, when you say obsessing about my weight, it's not about obsessing. If you know you're going on a trip and you have a quarter tank of gas in your car, are you going to go, well, we'll just see when we run out?
Right.
You're going to say, wait, we're leaving tomorrow on a trip. You're going to obsess to get to that gas station because it's that important. For you, you got hit from every way, you know, possible. And it confused you. It put you in a place where self-sabotage was your answer on just letting go. I can't care about it anymore until you cared about it. But, you know, God acts in mysterious ways. There's no accidents. It's about contrast in life. And he took you all the way to admitting to yourself, I'm self-sabotaging. I'm destroying myself. I'm hurting my health. I'm hurting my looks. I'm hurting my chances for anything in the future for myself. And how important is self-sabotaging as opposed to doing what I need to do to get where I want to go, to be healthy, feel healthy, and to be trim and feel good in my clothes and like how I look again. These are choices.
Well, you know, it's interesting. You said, I don't know, I think when you were just reading that piece out of the book, you know, I always, you know, whether it was 5, 10, 15, like I said, more, you know, if I was getting up to 20 pounds overweight, I was like at it on whatever diet I was doing at that time, always successful at it. When I put my mind to it, and people always say, oh, you have such willpower, you have such willpower. Well, the truth is, you know, if you follow a program and it's a good program, you're going to lose weight. It doesn't mean that it's going to sustain you for life, but, you know, you can lose weight, which I always did. But this time, like even when I was, you know, trying to help other people lose weight, like they would look at me and like, really, like, what do you know about losing weight? Because even if I was only 15 pounds overweight or 20 pounds overweight, they didn't think that I knew anything about losing weight because I don't. And I have to say that I completely can empathize with what obesity feels like.
Mhm.
I mean, from everything from sitting in a chair and feeling it on both sides of you, like when you go down and sit down in it. And like, you know, there were a couple times that I even stood up in the freaking chair, stayed with me, you know. I mean, it,
In
you
the
know,
beginning of this book is the story about Kathleen Powell, and that's why she joined with us, because she was with her little goddaughter, and she she sat down in a little chair to play, and she broke their favorite chair,
mm,
and it just horrified her.
yeah,
But
that
these
would,
are things that, and yes, you can I can relate. I was never 200 pounds, but I was 40, 50 pounds overweight. For me, I was a dancer my whole life. I always had a trim little body, blah, blah, blah.
mhm.
And the rug was pulled out from under me. And what Flesh or Fat for Life is all about, and this is why I want to change it, the diet that God gave me, or the
But I
God.
don't want you to change it to that.
Okay.
If you change it to anything, you can't use, and you're the one that even said it. It has to be the word lifestyle, not diet.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Exactly. Yeah. No, it just popped in my head today in the kitchen. I thought, God gave me this. What's wrong with you people? But yeah, exactly. It's a lifestyle for a lifetime. And that's why we cannot, it's like, okay, Diane, you're Catholic,
That's actually
right?
a good title.
Yeah, well, it's in the book. Diane, you're Catholic, right?
Yes,
You go to church every day?
yes,
Okay. Is that your lifestyle?
yes,
Are you going to change that?
no,
There's some things that are just so important down to our soul
Mhm.
that, you know, move my finger. You can't, because it's in your soul. Certain things that you want to care about with your life and your future. Barbara, you got kids, right?
Mhm.
How many?
2. One's 31 and, or no, my God, no, he's 32 now and one's 17.
The
So
17,
so the 32-year-old's getting ready to start having kids.
and the 17-year-old's going on 30, right?
Right. She thinks.
My point. But Barbara, you're too young to be struggling physically.
Mm,
And I know that makes you struggle emotionally.
mm,
And I think your only saving grace is doing Flesh or Fat,
mm,
because it's going to put you back into control. It's going to make you feel like you cannot knock me off this log,
mhm.
because we call it habitual ritual. People that, and my daughter does this all the time. Mom, I just made this banana ice cream. It's with almond milk, you know, or coconut milk, whatever. You just have to try it. She just did this to me the other day. I go, first of all, it's miscombining. Okay. Second of all, you got sugar in there. And third of all, I ain't doing it. And she goes, well, I go, let me smell it. She goes, oh, I said, you know what? I am committed to what I am doing.
Right.
I'm going to be 70 this April. I am not, thank you. But I want 111. So, you know, I got a long way to go.
Mhm.
I want to go a long way. But Barbara, you are going to struggle with your feet, your ankles, your knees, your hips, and you're going to be tired. You're going to, after a while, not be able to focus. And all you want to do is be there for your kid.
Mm.
And yet work wipes you out.
Yeah.
Okay,
It does.
what do we do about that?
Well, the work has to keep going. So
Right, because you
but I
have
just have to, I mean, I know I've got to get back to where I was, like we talked about.
Right.
And I can't let work be life.
No, it's not about work being life.
No,
Work-
but I
part
also have to make the time for me to, I know.
Did anybody remember, oh God, what's her name?
I have to be selfish is kind of really what it comes down to.
It's called water around the marbles. Okay, this is called water around the marbles. You can have a large vase and you fill it up to the top with marbles. And then you take a huge pitcher of water and you pour it into the base of the marbles. And there's a lot of spaces around those marbles that you can fill that water in, and you'd be amazed at how much water you can pour into that vase with it still up to the top with marbles. Your work, it's a given. You're a single mom, you pay the bills,
Mhm,
and you need to make sure you keep the roof over you guys' heads.
mhm.
It's a given. But the water around the marbles is the food you put in your mouth, the walking, all of this is what you're going to do around the marbles. Because what's happened is it's gotten out of balance.
Oh, it got way out of bounds. Jackie, what are you talking about?
Okay. Yeah,
Let's be honest.
come on now.
And this last 2 years with COVID really got out of balance. So,
That's what bothers me the most. And that's why I really want to go strong with this. Because, bless you, because what they did to us with COVID
mm,
was, in my opinion, despicable. But, stuff happens. And they bumped you off the log.
mm,
We can't let that happen because it's our life. It's your life. It's your kids' life. If you have grandkids, hopefully they'll come. You want to be there. You want to be on your knees on the floor and scraping your knee like I just did the other day. I was playing hopscotch and fell. You want to be able to do that. The thing is, we're going to always keep our eye on you because it's easy for you to fall into that place where I'm just going to put my head down and work. And then I haven't eaten in a long time. So now I'm just going to grab something, or if you don't have anything prepared for you have to divide your life, work, your health.
Yep.
And that's what's the most important thing for you right now. That's what we're doing this year. We all have to work. We all have to pay bills. And some of us have to work overtime. Doesn't matter. You still have to eat. You still have to sleep. You still have to have bowel movements. You still have to somehow walk. And if you're in charge of that, that means work just became important for paying bills. Everything that Barbara's going to do for herself now is important for Barbara, important for her kids, important for her grandkids eventually, important for being happy and finding a partner, important for getting on with life. And when she's not working, she feels awesome to go get a nice dress or an outfit and go someplace and, kick up her heels and enjoy life.
mhm.
It's not as important. It is important to do. But now your priority, Barbara, is first and foremost. And we're in, where are we? We're still January, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
January 25th.
Yeah.
By February 25th, if you're straight on this, you're going to have a good 15 pounds off. So again, it's not about pounds, we know.
But it's the inches.
The inches. Yeah. Yes, Gail.
Speaking of that, and so I just ended my first week on this, and I've been, I'm like, I don't know your name with the piano in the background, but you know, when I
Michelle.
So,
That's
Oh.
Michelle.
when you know, I start something, I finally start something. It's like, okay, I'm in. So I didn't fudge or anything. And I got on the scale and I know, you know, the scale isn't important, but you know, I think it is for me checking in once a week, and I lost a pound.
That's good. You
Yeah.
actually lost, Gail, let me interrupt you for 1 minute. You lost more than 1 pound. Because you built some bone and muscle.
Okay.
Okay.
But anyway, my other question, so I thought, well, you know, I would like to know how many calories I'm consuming because I'm eating goat milk and nuts or goat yogurt and nuts. And, you know I tend to go a little bigger on the portions than I should. So I was measuring this morning and measuring the nuts and measuring the goat yogurt and blah, blah, blah. And I mean, oh, and, you know, soy milk and the latte and this and that. And the calorie count came to 1563.
Okay.
And I was like, oh my God, that seems like a lot of calories. I was like thinking it was about 12. So that's not a big deal.
No. And sorry, Jackie, I just can't stop. So Gail, you are reminding me of the mindset that we had like back in the 70s, counting the calories, measuring the
Watchers.
food and all that. And it's the food that we're eating that's good for us and it's okay. And I mean, Jackie has said, because I've been concerned about that too, but I will tell you that sometimes I can eat a whole quart of goat milk yogurt and nuts. And I don't eat it all at once. I shovel out probably half of it and I eat it. And then a little while later, I feel like having more. And then like, you know, I kind of don't want to finish the whole thing. So then I'll leave like a little bit in the container, but that's a lot of yogurt and nuts.
Yeah.
But, you know, I have still dropped since I started this, I probably dropped 5 sizes.
Wow.
And
Because I'm
a
going,
couple weeks ago, I guess it was, that I stepped on the scale because I wanted to see, oh, I've lost all these sizes. Let's see what it equals in pounds. I gained pounds
okay.
and I gained 1 pound. And so it really messed with my head for that day.
Are you the one that put the
So-
comment about after 4 months, you lost a bunch of sizes, but you gained a pound?
Yes, that was me. So I'm telling you, don't step on the scale. Don't do it to yourself because you're going to, it's like, you know, you're doing what you know is right to do. You're here on the call, you're doing the program, and you have all kinds of support from Jackie and everybody else on here. That scale is going to be like the devil.
Okay. Because I'm going to Hawaii in 2 months and it would just be great to be smaller. And I finally,
You will be.
I'm forcing myself to look in the mirror and go and love my body again. And you know what I mean? I
And
think
love you.
It's okay to weigh yourself in the beginning because I still know what I was when I first started. And when I do get to my final goal, I will be very curious to know what I weigh in pounds.
yeah.
But that's all it is. You know, you weighed yourself and you're starting. So now forget about the scale now. What we have done is measure yourself. And when I measured myself, I really should do it again. But when I measured myself, I did more than what they recommend for measuring. Like I measured, you know, here and here and here and here. I mean, everything, because I wanted to know all the little inches.
And it's hard to measure yourself. It's hard to measure yourself. I mean,
I
because
know, but it's possible.
you know what I'm saying, to
Maybe
be
you have one of those Osaline tapes.
Yes,
or-
they're
Yeah.
supposed to
Back-
be.
You have a chart in the back of your workbook too.
I
And
know.
it's just for guidance. Listen, it used to be called BMI, Body Mass Index. It's now body composition because bone and muscles weigh more. And I can tell you, I weigh more on a scale, but my clothes are much smaller.
Well, if I look good, that's fine. But, and I put on, I've been wearing leggings just because it's cold and it's easy and I'm at home and stuff. And I put on my pair of jeans, my one pair that still fit. And I was like, damn it, but I'm not patient. It's like, Gail, you've only been on the diet 3 days. You know what I mean?
Oh,
But okay, all right, you guys, I feel better because I was like, you know how it is. We all know, if we've all suffered from this, that you feel like you try everything and it seems like the only diets that work are the ones that, you lose weight fast, really fast, and it's
yeah,
packed
but then,
that other
And
crap.
you don't keep it off.
It doesn't stay off.
Works
no,
for you and then
Listen,
keep it off.
flush your fat for good is for healthy, rapid fat loss. And once you go into nutritional ketosis, you will lose fat and it'll start to melt off.
Oh, the ketosis, right? That's right. And how long does it take you to get there, Jackie?
It's sometimes a week.
Okay.
And if you're dead serious on what you're doing and you don't,
Yeah, you can't do any wrong
but
stuff.
they used to burn witches.
Like you and me.
You remember they used to burn witches? Did you ever hear that story?
Well, yeah, I remember.
Hey, you know what? I've got to leave, but I want to tell you something before I forget it again.
Go.
I had a bowel movement this week that was so good, that was so amazing. And I thought, wow, I should take a picture of this and send it to Jackie. And I didn't.
you had a colon cleanse.
That wouldn't be the first time that's happened.
I love that. When you look at the toilet, you're like, oh my gosh, because it represents crap coming out of your body.
Right.
It's
so funny.
digestion, absorption, and elimination.
Yeah.
And the more you get, who almost had was it you, Michelle? You said you had like 1.5 last week or something.
Well, yeah, there were a couple days when I had 2, but that hasn't been so good this week. But which I do want to bring this up. Like you told me to take the cleanse, later on at night.
Yeah.
And so because of that, I actually haven't been taking the cleanse because I forget
switched
about it.
over your routine.
Yeah. And so they haven't been as good.
Okay, so there's a product called Mana Cleanse,
Oh.
and it comes from a company called Mana Tech. So are you familiar with that, Gail?
No, but I have no problem with my bowel movements, by the way. So
Okay, well, the bottom line is, I was joking with you, Gail, about, they burn witches, but it goes along with how they used to do low fat, no fat, low cal. You need calories to burn fat, and don't count calories no more than you should look at low fat.
I won't weigh myself. It's going to be hard. And I have one more question. I don't want to be all about me. The latte thing at night, like 4 hours after lunch. I just thought that seems so counterintuitive to me. I love it. I look forward to it, but
What's the problem with it?
I'm curious about it. Why?
Okay, so basically this is not difficult, it's just different. And you wake, your whole day is fruit, latte, protein and vegetables. Fruit, latte, protein and vegetables. And sometimes at nighttime after 4 hours, I like to do some fruit again. Okay, in your latte, your whatever milk you're using, and then if you're putting your peptides in there, you got a 20-gram protein drink.
Putting my what in it?
Peptides, there's
The amino acids, you mean?
it's
Osoline.
called Osoline.
Yeah, the Osoline, it's a whey protein.
Oh, I haven't. No, I'm not doing that. I haven't done that.
It's from whey, but it's not whey. It's a
Okay.
peptide that's exclusively taken out of a whey. And in the room, you can get into the room under the files, and you'll see recommended supplements and products.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Okay, so there's they're called BCAAs. They're branch chain amino acids, and
Right.
they're structured peptides.
Well, I've been putting amino acids in my coffee because I thought that when I saw the amino acids, so I've been putting amino acids in my
Yeah, but
coffee.
these are called branch chain.
Oh, okay. Oh, I know, I've heard of that. That's what this is. Branched, because when I was on another diet, my coach, these are branched chain amino acids. That's what it is.
And they're just structured peptides. That's it. No additives.
Well, yes,
I'll
it's
take a picture of it and post it and we'll look at it.
it's flavored. It's flavored.
No, you don't want that.
Well,
The flavors in your coffee is gonna be cinnamon and cayenne pepper.
can I put coconut oil in it? I've been putting a teaspoon of coconut oil in my coffee
Well, I mean, what for? For the MCTs?
because I like it. I don't know. I like it. It tastes good.
What's the milk you're using?
Soy.
Is it unsweetened, non-GMO, organic?
Mhm.
And you're doing a cup to a cup and a half?
Well, because I counted the calories today, I put it down to 3/4 of a cup.
Have you heard the word sabotage?
So that's only one damn latte I've done that with.
Okay, so it's gonna be fun to watch you, Gail.
I'll put it back up to it. I know I'm your biggest nightmare on Facebook. It's like,
No,
What-
you're not. No, you help
No.
everybody learn, you know? It's like, last week, it was Margie really helped that woman, I can't remember her name.
Oh, what the plus?
And yeah, the teacher,
Mhm.
she said she was a teacher and she had to, her scheduling and everything.
We didn't have time for lunch sometimes, and yeah.
Right. And see, Margie, she like kaboom, she said.
Well, I am a teacher. And when I was on this the first time, I was substituting, and I just went prepared every day. I didn't know what time my schedule was going to be being a substitute. So I had my fruit with me. I had my veggies. I had chicken salad, and whatever time I had a free period, I'd look at the clock and see what I could eat.
Mhm.
That's like boom, so that we all have ways of making excuses, or you're a victim, Gail, of what Michelle said, what we were all taught in the 70s and 80s. But this is a different lifestyle. Throw everything out the window. Don't count calories. The scale's a liar.
okay.
And all you're going to do is you can get into the recommended products.
Which I'm doing. I'm doing all that.
Okay, good.
Me so long to do.
But you asked the question about why do we do the latte at night? Because number one, it's added protein. Number two, the cayenne pepper acts like a thermogenic. Number three, the cinnamon, it helps to support the hormones. And you
Okay.
don't have to do coffee the second time. It can just be hot soy milk. And you
Well, I
can
don't like
put it
the
in a
coffee.
frother.
I've been putting cayenne in it. I'll have to do that. So
The dash. It acts like a thermogenic. So, okay, guys, we're a little over 6
I
o'clock.
have my question.
But-
So I'm going to quit.
Oh, you're fat, Gail. Knock it
I'll
off.
put my salmon in the oven. So
We're happy to have you, and we're happy to have all your questions. And trust me, you're always going to get answers so that you can get yourself on track and never have to struggle again.
well, I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. And you guys don't stop putting pictures. I love all the pictures that you're posting. Barbara, stay strong, babe.
Yes, dear, and look at what I sent you.
I will.
Okay.
Okay.
You can do it. Everybody can do this.
Yes.
Actually, Margie, I did before, and I'll be honest. So in 6 years, I have totally fallen apart, and we're gonna get back on track.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the same thing that happened to me. I was on this in 2015.
They're the same. That's when I came in while I was going through a nightmare divorce, moving to Virginia, and
Yeah.
that's all.
We all have our story and our reason.
Yes, we do.
But the good news is we have the blueprint on how to get back on track,
Right.
right? Because that's the problem when people say, oh, okay, now I got to lose weight. I got to go to the next thing out there. No, we just have to get back on track. And it's all about biochemistry, physiology, and how God made our bodies to be fed properly.
Mhm.
Amen, right?
Yes.
Okay, until next
All
week.
right.
I love you guys.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank
Next
you.
Good
week.
night, all.
Good night.